What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into the Thomas Mott Show. We have an emergency show right now with some breaking news that just came out via Mike Garofalo, NFL Network, Adam Schefter. They all have this. Dallas Goedert has a shoulder injury, and he is going to miss some extended time. And that all happened on the face mask, or the non-face mask call where he fumbled the football. The full breakdown here, let's just jump right into the tweet. You see it here. Quote, hashtag Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert almost extended time with a shoulder injury suffered in the loss to the Commanders last night. Sources tell me and Tom Pelissero, not a season ender though. Injury added to insult on a play with the missed face mask that put him in harm's way, end quote. Again, that's from the NFL Network. We'll get more details on exactly what the shoulder injury is. As of filming this show right now, we don't know. We have no idea if this is a, collarbone thing, if it's a shoulder thing, a separation, a tear, absolutely no clue. But extended period of time tells me it's going to be a couple of weeks. Now, the question is, do you put him on IR? That guarantees him being out 4 weeks. Do you expect him to be out longer? I am not sure, but this is a massive blow to the Philadelphia Eagles, and like, the tweet said, insult to injury on a play that should have at least been a penalty and not resulted in the Eagles having a fumble as well. I mean, Goedert has obviously been one of the best tight ends in the National Football League, and they were starting to use him more as well in that passing attack, and now you go over here to the depth chart, and it's a lot of unknowns in terms of tight ends to replace him on the current Eagles depth chart. Jack Stoll is going to be your number one after essentially being the 2 all year, and he's had a couple of nice catches, but by no means has been used even close to where Dallas Goedert is at, not even considered even remotely as good as Dallas Goedert is, and so Stoll is going to be the starter. That means rookie Grant Calcaterra, who was drafted late in the 2022 NFL Draft, is going to be your number 2 tight end. He is really the guy who's going to go ahead and step up. Very much considered a pass-catching tight end, very much in the mold of Dallas Goedert. But this is a rookie who had barely seen the football field, has barely even been targeted so far this year by Jalen Hurts, and he now is expected to go ahead and have to contribute in a very big way. This is a big blow to the Philadelphia Eagles. This is not a minor loss here. Sure, they still have Miles Sanders and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Zach Pascal's going to have to go ahead and play an extended role, but Dallas Goedert was very much that X factor in a lot of these one-on-one opportunities across the middle, and you've seen it again last night. Past couple of weeks, he is a big-time target and a big-time fan of Jalen Hurts. Now, one thing to keep an eye on here is that Tyree Jackson was activated for his 21-day practice window just a couple of weeks ago, and this is an interesting roster move. You see it was here on October 26th via the PhiladelphiaEagles.com. He was placed on reserve, physically unable to perform list on the 23rd, and now can be placed on the active roster at any point. So maybe, just maybe, depending on where he comes after that season-ending injury last year, he could go ahead and come back and possibly contribute from a tight end perspective, as he is that massive 6'7", 249-pound free agent quarterback who was a quarterback for the XFL team for the DC Defenders. I mean, this is not necessarily a star tight end or a guy who's played a lot of tight end, but it's another guy to go ahead and throw in on the depth chart who might be able to go and at least give you an option as some backup depth there at the tight end spot. There's no two ways to put this. This loss for Philadelphia is a brutal loss, not just from a tight end perspective, but for the next couple of weeks. This is the hardest part of the Eagles' schedule. The next 4 weeks are not going to be easy. You're playing some decent defenses and some good overall football teams. You're at the Colts this next week, who are still very much an unknown with Jeff Saturday. A win on Sunday, they look good, but it was the Raiders, and the Raiders have been trash, and so that's either a trap game or a really good get-right game for the Eagles. But then you got Packers, who might be peaking after beating the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. The Titans, who are one of the best teams in the AFC. They've won 6 of their last 7. They run the football very, very well. A very physical linebacker core for the Tennessee Titans. And then a massive one on the 11th, where you really got to beat these New York Giants because they're hovering just 1.5 games behind you right now. 1 game in the loss column. And if you were to lose to the Giants, that 1 seed, heck, that division could start to slip away from Philadelphia. And so I'm not going to sit here and sound the super crazy panic alarm. I'm not going to go ahead and freak out right now, but this is a massive blow to the Philadelphia Eagles, and it gets to a point where you have to start to kind of wonder, could they go out to the free agent market and maybe try to, find somebody right now? And I think that this is a very real possibility that Philadelphia could look and see if there's someone they could go ahead and sign. The problem is there's just not a lot of options out there in terms of free agents, in terms of people that are available to actually go ahead and get. And you look at the tight ends, there just isn't anybody out there. And so you start to kind of wonder, what are the Eagles going to do at the tight end spot? And is it just simply, trying to just sign somebody or keep Calcaterra as kind of the number 2? It's really, really hard to go ahead and figure out. There are just not a lot of free agent tight ends, as I've tried to look here as on the fly on this, quick show, and there isn't in terms of a lot of options out there. And so we go back to the depth chart here, and we really focus in on Jack Stoll, who has been the backup tight end, but you look at the numbers, right? 4 catches, 49 yards. That's it. I mean, literally, he's had very little targets, very little receptions, and over his career, the past couple of years, there's just not been a lot of overall production. He had 1 target for 11 yards and 1 catch last night. He had 2 targets and 1 catch against Houston. The Dallas game, he had 1 for 21. That's it. Those are really, all of the overall numbers that this guy has had, and so he's going to have to go ahead and step up. And you can make the same case for Calcaterra. He has the 1 reception for 40 yards in the regular season this year, and you got to go all the way back to, let's see if I can find it, all the way back to that Washington win in week 3 when he had his 1 reception for 40 yards. And so both these guys are going to have to go ahead and step up. He's a 6th-round pick, 198th overall. This is not going to be easy and will make things a lot harder for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to put a little bit more pressure on Jalen Hurts. Now, thankfully, Jalen Hurts has been fantastic this year, and thankfully, Jalen Hurts has handled pressure very, very well. You're going to have to adjust the offensive play calling a little bit here. Try to find Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, maybe a little bit more. Use Zach Pascal in situations where you might have had Dallas Goedert as the slot receiver on the outside. Those one-on-one matchups are going to be key. And finally, run the football. Philadelphia was one of the best rushing teams early on this year. They've gotten away from it a little bit. You saw that at least early in the game against Washington, especially early in the game against the Houston Texans, where they feel like they can dominate you throwing the football, and so they kind of forget it that Miles Sanders is having potentially a record year. I mean, this is going to be a 1,000-yard rushing season for Sanders if they keep pounding the rock, and they found that out late in the game yesterday and what should have been early in the game yesterday. And so overall, this does not derail their season. He's not done for the year. They're going to be okay, but the next 4 games without him, minimum, I think at least next 4 games are going to be crucial for the Philadelphia Eagles to try and, level the ship. We all talked about, adversity for the Eagles. When would they face adversity? Here you go. They've officially started to face adversity as this is their first big test going into the Colts next week, coming off of a bad loss, coming off of a team that, is going to run the football really, really well against them, at least Washington, and hopefully not with the Indianapolis Colts and without one of their star pass catchers in Dallas Goedert. So we'll keep you updated here on the Thomas Mott Show. Obviously, go check out my reaction to yesterday's loss. That's already up on the channel here, and I get a full breakdown of who's to blame, but I want to jump on here with an emergency Thomas Mott Show to give you guys the update on Dallas Goedert. I'm Thomas Mott. Tough day to be an Eagle fan. It's going to get crazy here the next couple of days. Be sure to subscribe and thumbs up. We'll see you guys in the next one.